And we are live, ladies and gents. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling, August 2nd. Today we are celebrating the 200th episode of AEW Dynamite. I'm here with my host, my weekly Wednesday host, Righteous Reg.
It's the California Connection. Denise, what a great day to get together for our weekly AEW Dynamite post show. This episode was phenomenal. So many great things to talk about tonight. I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to finish. Just greatness. I'm just excited. Let's get into it.
I know. So here's the thing. We were just talking about this last week, how there was one show, I think it was last week, where I was like, I don't really know what to do with my headline today. And today I changed my headline for this video 3 times. And I might change it again because there was so much that happened on today's show that I'm thinking, oh my God, like it finally feels we are officially on the road to AEW All In. Like it felt like it was kind of on the back burner for a bit, but it's officially August and it's time and we're making our way there. But we had an explosive ending to AEW Dynamite, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But before we get to all of that, you guys know the drill. If you want to help support myself and Reg here on this podcast week in, week out, we cannot do it without you guys. If you do want to help support us, get your questions, your thoughts, your hot takes, everything right here on the stream by sending in a super chat. They keep us funded, and get your thoughts here on the screen. And we got our first couple of super chats. But first, I want to thank Ebony Prince for becoming a member of the DWO here on the YouTube channel. We got Sheldon Jackson who says, thank you, Shida. Toni's reign was at best. Now, hot take incoming. I was comparing her to Dom's matches. In one instance, the interference actually worked and was entertaining. The other just sucked the air out of the match. Wait, what?
Huh? What? This super chat took a turn at one point. Now hot taking I was comparing her to Dom. Who to Dom? Sheldon?
I don't know why we're comparing anyone to Dominic Mysterio here today. That was not the way that I was planning on getting this podcast going. But you know what, though? Sheldon Jackson did say he had a hot take incoming. There's nothing worse than someone saying they got a hot take and then it's like a cold ass take.
No, that was hot as it gets because I'm like, what now? What are you talking about, Sheldon? But I respect it. I see it. That interference and stuff like that and having Saraya involved in all these things can get a little bit into a zone that gets kind of uncomfortable for people. So I understand.
Heidi Ho says, holy Shida. Amir F sends in a super chat saying the moment Shida came out for her entrance and looked emotional, I knew what time it was. Let's effing go. Big Homie Kitchen says, Hikaru Shida, the truth. I told y'all last week, dog, we moved Alameo. Reggie Simmons sends in a very generous super chat saying, somewhere, our brother Will Washington is curled up in fetal position just like me because our champion has been recrowned. A Grapple Geekery sends in a super chat saying, respect, walk. What do you say? Respect. What are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? I just did a really poor impression of Pantera, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you attempted it, though. That's all that really matters out here.
Yeah. I did a really bad job, but I love that song. Eloquent says, Nick need to pull up Swerve with that blicky. I don't understand any of the words.
You don't know what that means?
What's a blicky? Reg.
Nick needs to pull up on Swerve with the blicky.
Oh, blicky?
The blicky, yeah.
Okay, but what is a blicky?
What take a wild guess what that could be.
Hold on. Nick needs to pull up on Swerve with the blicky.
The blicky.
I have no idea because
what
I'm
could
thinking
be
the only thing that comes up to mind is what rhymes with blicky is hickey, but that doesn't make any sense in this context.
Absolutely not. No hickeys are involved at all
so
here.
I don't get it. Okay, blicky. I don't know, Reg. You're going to have to explain this one because my brain went to hickey.
Blicky is a gun, Denise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a cuter name for a gun. I would much rather say blicky than gun. Gun
right?
Just like,
doesn't it sound a little bit fancier? Like,
yeah,
pulled up with the blicky.
Here's my blicky. Oh, ill. I hate it. I hate it. I
Yeah,
hate
no,
it.
when it's the blicky though, it lets off, so it's not a good thing.
I mean, it sounds cuter, but let's be real.
It's not cuter at all.
It's not cuter at all. Everbrand says, I'm telling you, Cole turns on MJF at All In. Dream Ninja sends in a super chat saying, okay, Reg, can you call Will and make sure the final stage of his signing bonus is coming? Mercedes versus Shida when she's healthy. Also, Swerve doing work. We got so many super chats, guys. iChurch Pastor says, hey, Denise and Reg, the Kelly Connection, an awesome and essential show. Thank you so much to iChurch Pastor Blaster.
You.
Hunter Tillman sends in a very generous super chat saying, hey, Denise and Reg, great 200th episode of AEW Dynamite tonight. Happy as hell for Shida since she only got to be the pandemic champion and the whole effing show versus Jack Perry next week. Let's freaking go. So hyped for All In. Roberto Arsenal says Shida deserves a run with a live crowd. Grapple Geekery says, I appreciated the effort, Denise.
Yes.
Matt Wright-Keel says, hi, Denise and Reg. Have a great show. Swerve is a menace. Leaving for Detroit in the AM. Thank you so much to Hangover Bob for the generous super chat. Blanca says, women main event and Shida wins title tonight. Think I know who made that sign, made TV last week. Thanks, Will. Metalhead for Life sends in a super sticker. And then Mr. Acosta says, great show, but not one mention of Punk by MJF. All right, so now that we got through these super chats, let's talk about the first thing. And the first thing that everybody wants to talk about is the main event for AEW Dynamite 200. And it was Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's World Championship against Hikaru Shida. Reg, I want to start off by asking you, given that last week our majority of a show was literally about the AEW women's division and also the sign that that person had which said to book the women's division better. And now here we are with the women main eventing not on their usual spot of the night, and we end up getting a phenomenal match with a great surprising end to it. What did you make of all of this?
An agenda has been... We've seen an agenda right before our eyes. There was this guy, he used to be on my podcast and he would talk all the time. Every podcast, he would wear this shirt. He just was a big fan of this person. And for some reason, he joins the company and now she is the women's world champion. I'm not putting it together. I don't know. I was just like pulling that out of thin air. No, seriously, this was a great moment to cap off a great show. Like when it was happening, I was shocked. And then when I was like, oh yeah, and this is also the 200th episode of Dynamite, like it felt even better. Like it was like, wow, this is really awesome. Shida, like people are saying in the chat, was the pandemic champion, so she didn't get to experience all these great live crowds as the champion, but she never stopped working like a champion. She never stopped working hard. All her matches were amazing. She stayed over the whole time. Kind of somebody that just worked from the beginning for AEW to push this women division when people were saying, this division needs this division needs that. Why aren't they getting more? Why aren't they getting that? So for them to have this great match and then Shida get this surprise victory, great finish. The crowd was super hot into it. She's emotional, like just a great moment all around. Right, Denise?
It definitely was. Like, I wasn't expecting for this match to be the main event. And the second that this match was announced, I realized it probably halfway through the show, or not halfway through the second hour, that this was going to be the main event, because I had the card right in front of me and I'm looking at it. I'm going, oh man, it's a tag team match. The only match that is left here is the women's match. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is going to be the main event. And I started thinking, like, if this is the main event, there is going to be a major surprise. And the only major surprise that I can expect here is Hikaru Shida actually becoming the champion. Correct. Now, let's break this down for a second, because I'm going to be real with everybody. And we got someone already mentioned it in the super chats earlier, is that we weren't necessarily feeling Toni Storm's reign right now.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's so unfortunate too, because I thought Toni Storm's first reign was one of my favorite AEW women's championships and reigns of all of AEW's existence. So I was going into this new one, I was expecting that kind of same thing to happen, her to be a defending champion, kind of going at it for every Dynamite, every show that happens essentially. And she's had some great matches, but being kind of tied in with the Outcasts and all that homegrown stuff kind of devalued what the AEW Women's Champion kind of represented. So I could see how that happens, but it's Toni Storm, and I can't be like, that was a bad reign, because like Toni Storm is amazing. Like her matches are, every time she got the camera and every time she had the opportunity to be the Women's Champion, it was great. So I'm like, it's hard.
It is hard. And that's the thing. Like when you think about, okay, like we look at this list and now Shida is not only a two-time women's champion, but she's also now the 9th champion. But when you look at this list, so obviously we had Shida was the 3rd champion. She held that for 372 days there. But after that, like once we actually got to everything that happened once Britt Baker lost the title, it kind of seemed like things were rocky, right? So you had Thunder Rosa that unfortunately due to her surgery, things went the way that they did, where, she was a champion for, they have her here as 172 days, but she was a champion because you had an interim champion, which kind of got things a little bit fussy, right? And I remember thinking like, okay, once Jamie Hayter won the championship, I kind of felt like that was going to be the person that was going to help get the women's division right back on track. And then unfortunately, Jamie Hayter gets injured and things don't exactly work out the way that we thought they were. So now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, once we got the belt back on Toni Storm, to me, that moment felt like, okay, well, this is only happening because Jamie Hayter is injured. And this probably makes the most sense creatively speaking. But now that Shida has the championship once again, Reg, you tell me, like, how do you feel? Because I feel like this is finally going to be our moment to get the women's division back on track, because from the sounds of it, it looks like Jamie is going to be out for a little while. I'm not expecting her back anytime soon based on what we've been hearing. And so I feel like this is it. Like Shida's going to be the one to get the title back on track and the division back on track.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the most perfect people to kind of slot into the spot of like, we thought we were going to have Jamie. We're going into this huge show with Jamie would have played a big part of, considering where it is. But, we're going to pivot, and to pivot with Hikaru Shida, who, like we said, when she was the pandemic champion, not in front of the crowds, she still was tearing it up. Every one of those matches was fire. They had heat. She's an incredible baby face. And to be able to see that every week or every time she's showcased in front of these crowds, and everybody's hyped on Shida. So any venues that she's at, there's a lot of Shida fans. So for her to be the world champion and doing that, and gonna be having these great matches with a new different crop of women from when she was world champion, this is like the perfect timing for this. Shida's gonna kill it.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the new crop of women, because that is true. And so now we're getting this new version of Shida. And like, I go back and you were mentioning something earlier and it made me go back up and kind of bring up all the matches that Shida has done. But you mentioned the thing about Shida is that she works, and she works hard. And I truly believe that that's the reason why AEW decided to put the title back on Hikaru Shida. Because when I think back to some of the things that I really enjoyed from the women's division last year, and I wanted to make sure I got the dates and everything right, was one of the stories that really stood out to me. One of the feuds that really stood out to me in the women's division was Hikaru Shida and the work that she did with Serena Deeb.
Oh yeah, her and Serena Deeb tore it up, and that was kind of a moment where AEW was kind of in the swing, so they weren't as hot as like they could be now, and like people need to go back and watch those matches if they haven't seen them, because Shida was tearing it up, and then the matches that she did with Deeb showed a different side of her, and the side kind of like a more vicious side, kind of leading to the Shida that we have today. So wow, yeah, those are some times.
And that's the thing, like I'm looking at all of the matches that she did, like girl was working dark elevation, all of these matches here that she's had, like her list of all of the opponents and things that she's been doing throughout the year have really felt like every time that she wasn't sidelined due to an injury or something like that, that she was always, working and hustling. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing Hikaru Shida right now as the champion. So this kind of feels like we're starting this new era of the division. And I feel like after last week, where that sign that literally went viral and everybody was talking about it, and it led to all of these additional conversations about the women's division, I feel like that was really this moment where, I mean, I can only wonder, Reg, if you're AEW, you're going to start to think like, damn, we need to make sure we kind of switch things up, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of a good thing to show it being the 200th episode of Dynamite, the main event. It kind of puts faith in like, look, we hear you guys. Here are the women. Here's some great women. Here's a great moment. One thing we're also not thinking about was Shida being the new champion. She's back and forth to Japan. You want to talk about adding prestige? She's in Japanese promotions. If she has the AEW's Women's Championship and she's defending over there and being a strong champion like she is in AEW, like imagine the prestige that that's going to add onto the AEW Women's Championship.
So what are we thinking for All In? Like, what do we think is going to be the All In match now that she's the champion? Like, what direction do we see? I don't know. Like, do we see a rematch with Toni and Shida? I feel like that would be like a direction to go. But I feel like because we've seen that already here tonight, we could probably do something a little bit more. I don't know. Like, is there anybody that you're like, this screams, this is the person that it should be? Or Britt Baker, for example. Britt Baker's been starting to get them wins again. That could be a reason. We were talking about how they were like heating her back up after she won against Kayla Sparks and then Taya Valkyrie. So then maybe Britt Baker could be part of, you know, this whole new thing with Shida.
Yeah, no, I think maybe the Toni rematch, if they just kind of build from now to then, like Toni rematch clause or whatever, however she gets there. And then Toni needs a big moment too. Like she's been caught into some unfortunate moments that weren't really her fault or times or whatever. And so she could have a really big moment at Wembley too, which would also be a kind of great thing to in the story to tell. So I could see that match. But then also, I mean, there's a wide open, you know, layout of great women's wrestlers that could fill this. I want to see Athena wrestle. Like, hey, let's have Athena wrestle her there. Let's have that great match. I don't know. That could be anything. That's what's great about Shida is it's now like she's not really attached to anything. So like from here, it could be like anybody. It's wide open.
Right. And if you notice, like a lot of the women have had their best matches against Shida, like throughout the year. So I feel like now the, like you mentioned, the pool, the table, it's open for all of these different types of challengers and these different types of challenges because Shida is able to have those types of matches with whoever it is that she's in the ring with. So I think that's going to be kind of the exciting thing. But we got so many super chats, guys. Thank you so much. Let's get to them. This one is from Hangover Bob, who says, Hollywood, you go, girl. Dante NYC says, here's some cash for attempting Pantera. Nice. So happy for Shida. She deserves to hold the championship in front of the fans. I agree. Because one of the people, and I know we're not going to talk about this right now, but I do want to mention is I always thought of this for Drew McIntyre when he was champion in the pandemic era. And I always thought how that sucked. And so, yeah, it does suck to be at the top of the mountain in whatever company or division you're a part of and then not have those opportunities with the fans.
And then especially when they set up the moment on a silver platter at a pay-per-view in front of your home fans, and here's the platter, you have them win the world championship here, but you instead have him sing off the show with the boxer.
Yeah, that's true. Arrow Holmes sends in a super chat. Didn't write anything, but thank you so much to Arrow Holmes. Delayed Grad says, holy Shida sets up all-in match for Saraya or maybe Mercedes Moné because she has been trading again since late June.
Has she?
Do you think we're going to see Mercedes at all-in?
I mean, if there's any moment to debut Mercedes, what Tony Khan on this show, I'm sure we're going to talk about here soon, deemed as the biggest wrestling show of all time. Mercedes Moné here in a match is amazing. I think a great idea, but I don't know the diagnosis on Mercedes. I'm still like, I haven't seen what's going on with her ankle. I don't know anything.
Don, aka Smiley Girl, sends in a super chat saying, hi, Denise. Hi, Reg. Bad move on Adam Cole's part. Didn't read the fine print on the contract. What's the swerve going to be? Who's turning on who? And who will Roddy get involved? We'll talk about that in just a second. Lawrence Ross says, hi, Denise. Regarding 200 episodes in the bag, did we just get RVD? I thought maybe we'd get Uncle Bully. We got RVD here, man. I'm excited. We'll talk about that too in just a second. Justin Martin says, what a great show. Happy 200 AEW. Holy Shida. Congrats to the new champ on finally getting her full crowd moment. Nobody deserves this more.
Thanks.
Benoit Richter suggests Shida versus Kairi at Wembley.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Honestly, y'all are making some great suggestions out here. I'm like, I haven't seen one bad match yet where I'm just like, no, don't do that. That's how versatile Shida is.
Ever Brand says who will be the first to hold the women's and the TBS title. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know because it's just like two totally different. We're seeing two totally different sets of, competitors, and women hold the AEW Women's Championship and the TBS title. But I don't know. I mean, I could even see that happening for Toni now that she's already got two AEW Women's Championships under her belt. Like, I can easily see something like that happening where she ends up becoming the one to get the TBS title, but who knows?
Definitely.
Grapple Geekery says, rinse, repeat. I mean, interfere, spray paint, repeat got really old for the Outcasts. I love all three of them, but they were not booked well. Did you like the way that this all played out? Because there was that moment where Toni Storm spray painted her in the eye and then hit the Storm Zero, but Shida kicked out, and I thought that was like that was the moment where I'm like, okay, she's officially winning.
Right. Yeah, no, I think I understand the Outcast thing, but I think they had a lot of shining moments. Like, I think Ruby benefited a lot kind of from it. Like, I think Saraya is the one that didn't really get the best benefit because like some of her promos kind of turned people off. But I think Ruby, probably more than any of them, really benefited from the heel turn and being able to talk on the mic. I don't think it was a total failure, but there was moments where it did get old where they were doing that rinse and repeat. Like Grapple Geekery is saying here, like every week it's spray paint, somebody comes in, interfere, spray paint, interfere, and is like, no. But it really worked here with this, with that false finish moment of her spraying her in the eyes, hitting her with the pile driver. Really good stuff. Got me good.
The misses outweighed the hits with the Outcasts. That's like the summary of it all. Tony Campbell says we need Jade Cargill versus Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné to do a one-off for All In. I don't know when we're going to see Jade Cargill back. Dream Ninja 77 says, wow, there is a picture of most of the roster on the stage giving Shida a standing ovation. Line up front and center, cheering her head off, hits the feels. Wow, that's super cool, man. That's really great. Grapple Geekery says, I'll believe they're booking the women better if it starts happening consistently. We've had amazing moments like these in the past with no follow-up.
Fair.
That is very fair. Very fair. Delayed Grad says, correction, Mercedes has been rehabbing since late July. Not late June. So there is a chance to see her at All In or All Out. Keep in mind, like, because these events, big events, are so close to one another, there's going to be this quick turnaround for what matches we're going to see at All In. Like right now, you can't even say, oh, this is the match that I'm expecting for All In because we're building into All Out. I mean, sorry, you got it. Reverse. Reverse. All Out. We can't expect the matches. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, some fans are going to have to like kind of expect them to book the All Out show a little bit later, considering it's like a week later. Like we might get a lot of the matches on the Dynamite and Collision before the show, and people just have to accept that just because how close these two shows are.
Exactly. Chi-Town Spurs says Fatal 4-Way, Baker, Shida, Storm, Saraya for All In. I could see that as a strong possibility.
Yeah, I like that.
Heidi Ho says Shida versus Nia Jackson, Wembley, Booker Tony. Heidi Ho, we're going to have to cancel you for this one.
Take it easy, bro.
Meet Norma says, some Denise Reg, I'm still doing the Daniel Garcia dance and now Vince may be gone. How many picks has Will taken with Shida so far? 200.
It is a 200 episode.
Ebony Princess Taya and Shida at All In. I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't see that one necessarily too much as a possibility. And Hangover Bob says any possible way that they can do a 4-way for the women's title and an exploding ring match. I could only hope.
Where did an exploding ring come from? Why do you want all that?
I think he's going more so for the exploding barbed wire death match.
Gotcha. He wants to see a big explosion. That's okay. I understand.
Thank you so much to Hangover Bob. All right, so there you go. That's pretty much what went down with the woman. We got another super chat here from Leonard Aarons III, who says this month is going to be interesting with the women. Julia's heading this way in a few weeks. Deanna has an open challenge for the Multiverse United 2. Now Shida is back as the women's champion.
Nice.
All right, so we've been talking a whole lot about All In. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into the big All In news for today. So as you mentioned earlier, we did get Tony Khan. He had a brief little appearance where he basically, said like we're on the road to AEW All In, and then played us a video package recapping the 200 episodes of Dynamite, which was very touching because you saw all of these big moments. You saw all of these moments with Brody Lee and Jay Briscoe as well. What'd you think of the video package?
The video was great. Kind of reminds us of moments that we maybe forgotten since they've happened. There's a lot of stuff happened. 200 episodes. It's a lot to kind of remember. There's been a lot of really dope moments throughout the year. When it was playing, I'm like, yo, Dynamite is my favorite wrestling show ever. Like my favorite wrestling TV show ever. Like there's been so many amazing matches, moments, more like just matches. Like you want to think of just some random great matches probably happened on Dynamite with some of your favorite wrestlers. So I thought it was a really great way to kind of put the stamp on this 200th episode.
Yeah, I agree. And I would have liked even more of that. But with Dynamite, you only get a certain amount of time. So you don't get to see as many. But even then, I thought that was kind of cool to see. But here we go. AEW All In. We have our first match announced. And it just so happens that we now know what the main event is going to be. It is going to be MJF versus Adam Cole, baby, for the actual title. After MJF went out there and basically talked about being bullied, abused, and cheated. This was pretty much a babyface promo that ended with MJF basically saying that he's still a scumbag, but he's our scumbag. And he thanks Adam Cole for all of this and for being his best friend. When Adam Cole goes out there, he kind of teases like, oh, you're not going to get a rematch, right? And then he ends up fooling him and saying, you're going to get the match. And that is when it's announced. He brings out a contract that, by the way, like people mentioned here, he did not actually read. Adam Cole signed it, and we're getting this match. Thoughts, Reg?
That was a very pivotal moment there that Max, I want to say Max is fooling y'all, man. I can't believe this guy. Even that babyface promo, I'm like, this guy's the devil. He's been telling us he's the devil for a long time. Every time he's done a promo, Denise, he's been like, I'm the devil. Don't believe me. Even if I tell you I'm not, don't believe me. So I can't believe him. I understand everybody wants the story. They want these guys to become tag champions. But MJF has told me to not believe him. So that's what I'm going to do until I get the moment that it happens like that. But Denise, I think this is honestly the best match they could have for the main event of All In. The lead up to this, there was a lot of talk of like, oh, they should do like an AEW guy versus like somebody from the UK or like some kind of match like that. But like these fans in the UK are going to an AEW show. They want to see AEW superstars. And how do you cap off an AEW show? An AEW World Heavyweight title match. MJF's the champion against this guy that he's been a huge fan of for a long time. The best story that many are saying in their company right now, one-on-one for the AEW World Championship. We don't know what he signed in that contract. I think this is like the perfect scenario for this.
I do too. And that's the thing, like a couple of months ago, we didn't really know what the landscape was going to look like in terms of, what is going to be that big match for AEW All In. But then also several months ago, when it was first announced that they were going to London, nobody knew that the sales were going to be what they ended up being. Like literally, they've already sold the tickets. Like Toni can just be like, here's the bag of crap, take whatever you want. You know what? I already made my money. Tickets already sold, but and so I remember thinking like way ahead of time before we even knew all of this information that we know now. But I remember thinking like, okay, in order for them to sell out AEW All In, they're probably going to need, CM Punk, Kenny Omega. Like this is going to be the way to go. Right. And like, yeah, of course I would have loved to see CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or CM Punk versus MJF, because I do think those two matches are, just a lot bigger. But MJF versus Adam Cole, to me, as the main event works specifically because, well, people like Adam Cole a whole lot. Yep. People like MJF. And more so right now, the story that they're doing with them as, besties and having this hot selling t-shirt, it's telling us that it is working. Do I think it's the biggest main event that they could have done? No. But it is working for the programming and the story that they are telling right now.
Denise, we'd be remiss if we don't talk about your boy. What's up with your boy Roderick Strong? They shoot to Roderick.
Who the fudge is my boy?
They shoot to your boy Roderick Strong. He starts throwing chairs. He's mad. He got this neck brace. I'm like, What is wrong with this guy? Why is he throwing a fit in the back? Why is he throwing a hissy fit, Denise?
I want to first start off by giving some context to people here, because we got new viewers that are probably going to be thinking that I'm the biggest Roderick Strong fan right now, and I do not want that to be the what people think. I love Roderick Strong in ring wise. I said this last week, but I'm going to say it again. I think he's great in ring wise. Love him in ring. I watch him wrestle any day of the week. But my God, does he have the most annoying character on AEW television right now. He's clingy. He's annoying.
So
he's crying. We're supposed to be feeling bad for him. I don't feel bad for him. Are you kidding me? He's so annoying.
He's annoying. He's crying.
He's the crazy ex-psycho girlfriend.
He is.
Adam Cole doesn't love me anymore.
Right.
He loves MJF, and he's
Denise, he's going to go home and smash all the pictures of him and Adam Cole. He's going to tear up his Undisputed Era shirt. He's going to just rip all of the memorabilia of them off the wall. He's a psycho. I'm like, why is Roderick Strong going insane in the back here? Throwing chairs, slamming stuff, crying. I'm like, what is happening here? But people are saying that they think Roderick Strong is Adam Cole's lawyer, and he's upset that he didn't read that contract. That's why he was mad.
Here's the thing, though. If in the end of this, we get to a point where Roderick Strong was right,
yeah,
I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be so pissed. If that is the payoff for Roderick Strong of him being right, I'm going to be so freaking pissed.
You don't want Roddy to have one right.
No, I do not want. You tell me. Look at this. This is what I'm supposed to be. For the audio listeners, we're putting up a picture of Roderick Strong. You're telling me I want this guy to be right? No, of course not. He's the crazy ex-girlfriend that needs to get over the relationship. It's over. He's moved on to somebody else. Okay, I do not want Roderick Strong to be right at the end of this.
Seriously, I swear this guy is outside of Adam Cole's house with binoculars, like looking through the door, like what's he doing now? His wife is like, where are you, Roderick? Come home to your kid. This guy's outside with a sign saying, take me back, Adam Cole. What is going on here? Roderick Strong, you're the Messiah, the backbreaker. You have history, man. You're a longtime champ, one of the best champions in independent wrestling history, and you're out here crying on Dynamite?
Exactly. Okay, here's the thing, really quickly, just to kind of give some perspective here. All right, to the viewers watching, Reg, I'll pose this question to you. Have you ever broken up with somebody, like dumped them, and all of a sudden they'd be calling you up being like, oh my God, get back to me, love me again, be with me, I love you so much. Like, that makes you push them away more, where you're like, I don't want to be with you.
No, that's weird. If somebody's calling you, being like, please take me back. And it's like, the weird part about it, Denise, is Adam Cole's not even being like that. Where he's like, yo, chill, we're cool. Like, stop being weird. And Roderick Strong just can't stop being weird. Like my microphone that won't stop moving.
That's why they say whenever you break up with someone and you want them to come back to you, you have to act nonchalant, like they don't matter. Like you have to play it cool. That is why they tell this. Because then if all of a sudden you see your ex being fabulous, you're going to be like, how dare you be fabulous without me? Let's get back together.
She went to the gym. She got some new shoes. She got a new wig. She looking good. Like, maybe I'll call her back. Like, what's up? It's good to see you again, girl. It's crazy out here. Got the BBL now. Like, yo, it's lit. She got the BBL.
BTW.
She got the
I
new
just
eyelashes.
learned what BBL meant.
What do you mean you just learned what BBL meant?
I just learned what BBL meant.
What do you mean you just learned? How did you not know when people were like, oh, she got a BBL? What did you think they meant?
I don't know, but it's Brazilian butt lift, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
Booty.
I just learned this yesterday because I was watching it. I'm not kidding you. I had this conversation yesterday.
I just learned this yesterday.
Yesterday, I learned what BBL is because I was watching the Kevin Hart special.
Oh, yeah.
The new one. I forgot on which app. And did you watch it?
I saw it. It's on Peacock. It's pretty funny.
Yes. Okay. So in there, he talks about how women get the BBL and how they look like ants.
Yeah. I mean, some of them. I tweeted a few months ago. I was in LA for Mania weekend, and the BBLs there are god awful. Like, lock those doctors up, take them to jail. I was like, did you look in the mirror after the doctor finished and you're like, yeah, you did it, doc? And the doc was like, we killed it and slapped hands, because that looks awful. They need to kick you out of your practice and take you to jail.
Okay, so you see what I mean, though, right? Like, I just learned it through Kevin Hart. So thank you, Kevin Hart. You guys should watch it. It's pretty funny. It's a very funny special. But also, plastic surgery here is like very common. Like, it's not even a big deal anymore. Like, people will tell you to your face, like, oh, I got all this done. And you're like, okay.
It's like lips, eyes, head, ass.
One time I told my friend, and keep in mind, guys, born and raised in LA. I told my friend, I was like, I'm afraid of getting old. And I opened up to her about getting old. And I was, struggling with that. And she goes, oh, sweetie, that's okay. She's like, you can just get Botox.
Yeah, seriously, you live in LA, Denise. You don't never have to be old. Like, shout out to Courtney Cox, but like, she's gonna try to look like Rachel or Monica or whatever her name was in Friends forever, and people are gonna do it. And Jennifer Aniston too. Like, the whole Friends cast is gonna look like the Friends cast. Actually, like, you just get an AI like figure or something, Denise. Eventually, like, you could just send them out for you, and it'll be fine.
All right. Well, then don't judge me when I get my Botox. I can't do it. But we got so many more super chats here. Jake Salazar says, Reg and Denise, please tell Will to book Jeff Jarrett and Goldberg versus Sabu and RVD, or I'll settle for CM Punk versus Jeff Jarrett.
No, I'm not gonna.
Hey man, got some good reactions here tonight. Leonard Aarons III says, trust the man who is honest about being dishonest. Cole's the one we cannot and should not trust. He is on HBK. He is an HBK disciple after all.
Points are made, Leonard. I mean, he did learn from his dad, HBK, and any fact that he learned from his dad wasn't a good one, because he taught him all his old tricks. Not like, I'm the new dad with the bald head and the cowboy hat. Like, no, 1996 tricks.
Yeah, although I did predict this, by the way, that it would be Adam Cole. So when it does happen, I'm going to be the I told you so guy. Hangover Bob says Britt versus Rosa in a hardcore match was amazing. These ladies are down for the violence. Let them do it for All In.
True.
Heidi Ho says a reunited Undisputed Era helps Cole screw over MJF for the title. Ugh.
Not a fan?
They got to switch things up with Roderick Strong for me to be like, I'm on board with this.
I'm with it.
Jake Salazar says, Denise, Roddy is basically Taylor Swift's music manifested as a human.
Listen, Denise.
Please.
Listen, Jake's making some points here.
No.
Put that clip up of Roderick Strong throwing his chair, put one of them 1989 jams over the top of it. You be right in here. Talking about
Taylor
crying
Swift,
outside of your window.
Reg.
Like, Roderick Strong is that.
Reg, here's the difference. Nobody gives a fudge about Roderick Strong right now crying, okay? Taylor Swift, on the other hand, is selling out 6 nights at SoFi Stadium.
I just saw a clip of there's fans waiting outside right now for merch.
Since 4 a.m. they've been there.
What is wrong with y'all? Go to work, do something. You can't be standing outside for merch.
We worked to get money for the merch.
You're going?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Oh my God, you're so excited. I don't even know how you did this podcast.
I already bought merch. This was one of the items I bought.
How excited are you right now, Denise?
You know, when you have senioritis because you're like graduating from high school and you don't even care and you're like going to go off and have a great life. That's how I feel right now, where I'm like, I'm going to be done with work and tomorrow I'm going to go to Taylor Swift concert.
I'm going to go have a great life.
I'm going to go have a great life. I don't care what's going on anymore.
That's great, man. Well, have fun. You're gonna have fun. It's gonna be insane. Y'all are wild. It's not like if that was a rap show with that many people, I'd be like, man, be careful out there. But like, you don't have to be careful. Just have fun out there.
It's gonna be a great time, man. Jake Salazar says, "Love you, Denise." A good follow up. Jake Salazar trying to stay on my good graces here. Blanca says, "What if Swerve is MJ? What if the swerve is MJF didn't rig the contract and Cole cheats to win the title? How would you guys feel about an all-in main event double turn?" I'm here for it. It's what I've been expecting.
Yeah, I mean, the story that they're telling now, like if they did some super double turn or switch, I'd be into it.
I agree. The Pro Wrestling Podcast says, I just hope both these podcasters are having fun.
Definitely.
Boggs Biega says, they book 2 pay-per-views worth of matches every time anyway. Just spread them over 2 events, All In and All Out. That solves that. What do you think? I think you're not wrong here.
Yeah.
We are
But
talking about
you gotta have the world championship on both nights, for me at least.
Of course. Do you think that maybe I don't know what they're gonna do anymore. I just feel like there's so much happening, and I am waiting for MJF to obviously mention CM Punk and everything that CM Punk had to say on Collision.
Yeah,
and like that hasn't been mentioned. I mean, brought up by MJF. Excuse me.
That's what I feel like the All Out main event is gonna be. So I'm like, I don't think they're gonna wait until that week to, book it. But they can, because it's CM Punk. They really don't need any time. If they're like the Collision the night before, they're like, yeah, we're doing this match tomorrow. People will be like, yeah, let's go crazy. So,
Or maybe what if CM Punk confronts MJF at All In?
Right, exactly. And then that sets it up. A big moment. You have the big moment with them staring down in the ring. And then the next Sunday, we're wrestling again.
I love it. A nice cliffhanger, and all of a sudden you're on to the next show.
Yes.
I'm here for that. So that does sound like a really great idea. Let's manifest it. Hopefully we do get MJF CM Punk at All Out. And to finally make this, full circle situation where we got a real champion here with whoever it is. But anyways, Richard Martinez says, Roddy definitely crying after this podcast.
He was wilding on TV. Seriously. With his neck brace too, Denise. I'm like, bro, have some dignity.
It's not. The dignity has gone out the door, man. Out the freaking door. Cadillac Carson says, just finished Dynamite. OMG, Shida won the title. This may have made my Wednesday. I completely agree. Very nice to see that celebration. I love seeing everybody here comment on that, by the way. Adam Legend says, a small detail was Cole hugged MJF with his fist balled, mimicking a backstabbing motion. I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
Adam Legend, please put on your resume that you pay close attention to detail. Good stuff there. Leonard Aarons III says, thy kingdom come, Ring of Honor Cole, incoming, y'all.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember what they did today, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about there. I see what you're putting out there, Leonard.
Leonard, thank you so much for the super chat. Seriously, thank you to everybody who's been sending these in. All right, so let's go ahead and move on from here. And I want to go ahead and get into our next big topic. And the next big one is Rob Van Dam. So we knew that Jack Perry was going to be having this face-to-face with Jerry Lynn. And he comes out, Jerry Lynn, and basically says, I would beat you down, but it would be child abuse.
Yeah.
And then he says, with all of the plates and screws in my neck, there's no doctor that could ever clear me. And so then he brings out RVD. And this was pretty much, we kind of already knew this going into it after, the reports that were put out there. But the moment that I freaking popped for was when RVD came out to his old theme song, fucking Pantera, Walk by Pantera. Man, I will tell you, when you feel like you're at a concert, this is what that felt like. Right? I was more excited for the song than I think I was for RVD. And I like RVD a whole lot.
100%. That's exactly how I thought. I love RVD. Like I tweeted, he's on my Mount Rushmore of ECW wrestlers. So this is a great moment. But hearing that song was like, hey, yo, they got the song too. Tony Khan, loving you putting out the money for these real licensed music. It just hits a little bit harder. Like RVD's dope. Regardless, seeing him is always great, but that little extra effect just made it even better.
So we're going to be getting RVD versus Jack Perry next week. For the FTW Championship. What are your expectations of this match?
I've seen RVD. He hasn't stopped wrestling. He never stops wrestling because he smoked a lot of weed in his life, and it's helped him to his body is just full of marijuana, and it just helped him for a long time. He just heals better than anybody else. I could relate. He can still do his thing, and I think the way that Jungle Boy works and the match that they'll lay out, it's going to work perfectly for RVD. It's an FTW title match, which means RVD could do all his classic plunder, bringing out the chairs, putting him on the guardrail and hitting the spin kick into the leg drops. It's going to be perfect. They're going to have RVD out there for just amount of time before people are like, who's this old guy in here?
That's what I was concerned about because I haven't seen RVD wrestle since like the last time I saw him in Impact. Like when he was in Impact, I think freaking 2020 was the last time that I actually watched RVD wrestle. So it's been a very long
With
time
him
since
and
I've seen him.
his girl was twerking the whole time.
Yes. So that was really like the last time. So I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't seen him recently. So what's he going to be like? But I feel like I think they know what they're doing. And I hope that this match that it works out and that it's enjoyable. I don't want to get a situation where all of a sudden we got everybody trashing RVD because I don't want to trash RVD. He's so freaking cool, man. Like I have so many fond memories of RVD like growing up. And so I don't want any of those memories to be washed away.
Yeah, no, I don't think they will be. They're going to showcase RVD exactly how he needs to be. And yes, exactly the same thing. Like I said, he's on my Mount Rushmore. When ECW was hot, his match was the best. He never was the ECW champion. He was a world television champion, but still was the main event because that's how hot he was. The match, the way that he paced his matches, his big matches, it still hasn't been mimicked. Like people don't work like that just because it was his style for the time. It worked in the ECW environment. Like he couldn't take it to WWE. Like that style only worked in ECW and it's like never been mimicked again. And that's pretty impressive coming from a pro wrestler because everything is stolen and like nobody could steal his style. He's a father of this kind of hardcore play to the crowd, chill, but still high impact and still wild style. So this is great for him to see. Also a great thing of him having Pantera as his theme music is we don't have to hear that god awful Impact music that he had, one of the worst themes in the history of the world. Rob Van Dam. Whole effing show. Terrible. I saw him do a live version of that, Denise, in Bakersfield. There was an Impact show and RVD was there and the live band was there and it was the worst thing I'd ever seen in the history of a musical performance. I wanted to rip my ears off and throw them at the guys, but RVD is awesome.
What year was this in Bakersfield?
I think it might have been like 2010.
I think that was there, Reg.
Yeah,
Did he do the photo session afterwards where fans got to go into the ring?
And there was like Mr. Kennedy was there, and I think he did do the a bunch of wrestlers came out and started doing the photo thing. So yeah.
No, okay, so RVD, because I went to an Impact show, I forgot when and where it happened, but RVD was there, and he ended up doing like a photo session afterwards. And so I paid my little money, got in the ring, and here's my story. So that was the first time I had ever been inside a wrestling ring. So if you've never been inside of a wrestling ring, this was years ago. Like I don't know. I'm thinking like 20 something. I don't even know.
It might have been 2008.
I gotta look. I have the picture on the internet. I have it somewhere. I'm gonna pull it up. But anyway, so I had never been inside of a wrestling ring, and I got in. And so clearly, your first time in a wrestling ring, every single fan is gonna be, kind of moving around trying to see what's up. They want to
bounce off the ropes. Bro, every single.
I did like one little jump, and I got freaking yelled at by somebody that was there, organizing the line and stuff. They were like, hey, no jumping. And I was like,
and you were just a little girl, Denise, weren't you?
Yeah. And I was like, damn, bro, I just did one little hop. Like, I just wanted to see what it was like. I was so excited.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That kind of same thing happened to me. I remember going to a show. This was in like 1993. I'm aging myself. I'm sorry, you guys.
Wait, 1993?
Yes, this was also in Bakersfield.
I was like 1 year old.
Yeah. We're gonna just skip right past it. I wasn't gonna let you say your age. I was like, I know if I say this, you're gonna say what year she's in born, and I'm gonna feel like an old grandpa. But we're going for it now. I was here. So I went to a show. It was at Bakersfield College. I remember the main event was Razor Ramon and Diesel's great. And then at the end of the show was like, my mom was talking to like the ring announcer and he's like, you could get in the ring. And I was like, this is the coolest moment of my life. I just go to get in the ring and security guard's like, get out of the ring, kid. You can't get in there. And I'm like, bro,
I'm just a little kid. Why
are you talking to me like this, bro?
Okay, so also while I was trying to find the picture, I also according to Facebook, the last time I saw RVD wrestle live was back June 3rd, 2017. He did a match at PCW Ultra.
Oh, yeah. PCW. He did work a lot of matches for them.
So that was the last time that I saw RVD wrestle live was in 2017. But I got to still look for that picture, though. I don't know where that's at. But anyways, we'll move on from here. I'll eventually find it. We got some super chats to get into as well. And let's see what we got here. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, Hangover Bob says, this is straight up my favorite post show. Y'all are killing it. Love to see it. Thank you, Bob. Delayed Grad says, I love how AEW is giving so much love to old ECW, its spiritual predecessor, as much as WCW, if not more. Paul Heyman must be loving it. Well, one of the things that I remember was when Toni mentioned when Sabu came out, how much his dad, Shad Khan, loves Sabu.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the time. He told a story like that today about this being the anniversary of the stretcher match with RVD and Sabu. And it was also the last time that Chris Jericho wrestled in ECW. So he has such a connection. He was at a lot of those ECW shows. And if you are connected, like I'm PWG young boy, everybody knows that because I was at so many PWG shows like that. I'm connected to it. Like that's like a pivotal time in my life. Like I always remember that. And that's how Toni treats ECW. So he's always going to pay tribute to it. And we're always going to see things like RVD being on the show. I mean, Taz is the commentator. Jerry Lynn's back there. Like it's an ECW tribute place for sure.
We got Eddie Torres who says, first off, wish I could meet a shorty like you in real life. Second, I think Cole signed up to be the special referee so MJF can fight for the undisputed AEW championship against CM Punk. Holla. Eddie, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. And Reg. I'm trying to make out how he says he thinks Adam Cole signed up to be the special referee so MJF can fight for the undisputed AEW
y'all
championship
some wild boys
CM
out
Punk.
there, you guys. Oh man, y'all are funny tonight. Woo, y'all are funny.
Do you think this is a possibility? We
Okay,
said he didn't read the contract. That's it. Eddie Torres broke Reg. Eddie Torres broke Reg
he
right
got
now.
me good. That was a great super chat. I couldn't handle it.
You know what? I'll tell you this much. I haven't been called shorty in a really long time. It was actually pretty endearing. Like, ain't nobody calling me anything these days.
We got Baby Bash in the comments.
Sugar. I used to love the music video with Baby Bash. My favorite was the UPS girl. I was
you were the demographic, Denise. Of course you did.
Wait, is Baby Bash not cool anymore?
No, not now. That was like a long time ago. He still be out doing his concert thing. Shout out to Baby Bash.
Oh, I didn't know he was still like doing his thing, but it's been such a long time since, any of that. But sugar, how you look so fine or how you get so fine. Okay. Yeah, I remember wanting to look like the UPS girl. Go back and watch the music video. She was good looking. I was like, I want to be her when I grow up.
Yeah, no, there were some baddies in there for sure.
For sure. We got a super chat here from Meet Normus who says, I'm still dancing because of the weed. Envy the engineer says RVD had the Tanahashi struggle walk to the ring and then threw that spinning heel kick fast as hell like it was 1997.
Trick job.
Yes, I was nervous when he walked out and he was doing
But that's how he walks though. That's how he's been walking at minimum since like 2012 or something, like a long
really
time. That's just how he walks. He just like walks like that. It'll be fine when the match starts.
All right, we got a super chat here from Grapple Geekery who says RVD was my favorite wrestler for ages and is my favorite ECW wrestler to this day. I met him at Waffle House after an ECW house show. He and his then wife were clearly high. He ordered a pile of food.
Oh, Grapple Geekery sent me that on Twitter. Shout out to Grapple Geekery. That's hilarious and that's amazing. What's a pile of food? That sounds crazy.
I mean, if it was what restaurant did he say? Waffle House?
Waffle House. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I know exactly what you're talking about when you say a pile of food.
He's gonna have like a whole bunch
loaded on. Let me get the menu. Just put it all on one plate. Yeah, 1000%. I missed the Waffle House part.
I love it. We got a super chat here from Eddie Torres. Didn't write anything, but thank you so much, Eddie, for still sending this in. It's much appreciated. I'm still looking for my freaking picture with RVD and I can't find it. I give up now. I
It's
really give
somewhere.
up
It's on
now.
MySpace somewhere, Denise.
Probably. Hector Rodriguez says, Baby Bash, who's that? Y'all lost me. No!
Baby
No!
Bash. We're
Sugar, sugar.
California, Denise. It was on like the radio like every hour out here in California, you know?
I
So,
can't believe it. Oh, man. Thank you so much.
man.
Mike Flores says the whole menu.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Let's go ahead and press on from here. And I want to go ahead and get into the elite stuff from the show because we ended up seeing the elite versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Satnam Singh in this match here. And this was all sorts of madness, man. Like we ended up seeing freaking the Hardys come in. We ended up seeing Karen Jarrett. Hangman Page then hits a freaking buckshot lariat like out of nowhere to Jeff Jarrett. We see Kenny hit the V trigger. I mean, this was all just madness. And then afterwards, we do get to see the Elite win. And the big news coming out of today that a lot of people woke up to is that the Elites have resigned with AEW. So they're sticking with them. And so they got their contract extensions, all that good stuff. Let's start off with how you felt. Did you feel relief when you saw that the Elite had re-signed with AEW?
The most relieving news of the day, Denise. I was nervous. You never know, like, what WWE has a lot of money. Like, let's be real. If they, like I said, if they wanted to give it up, they could have gave it up. Like, I don't know how much money they could have offered them, and I wouldn't be mad at anybody for taking a big pile of money. So you do get nervous. But yeah, it was a big sigh of relief for them to say all the Elite, Kenny, the Young Bucks, and Hangman are going to be here for the long haul. I'm ready to see the Young Bucks back in tag team action, ready to see Kenny in singles action. There's no contracts looming over anybody's heads. We could tell all the stories we want without thinking anybody's going to leave. So this is great for the wrestling business. This is great for the alternative. This still puts prestige over here. It's like there's always going to be Kenny Omega's over there, so it's a big deal. Like it's, you know, like it's always going to be a viable alternate just because of the big kind of names that they are, and for them to continue, and we're still going to be getting amazing matches from these guys, and we're still going to get all the stuff that we've ever loved about them. This is great.
I agree. And the thing that I did like too about that is that every guy kind of gave like a different reasoning for wanting to resign with AEW.
Right.
You know, I think it was Matt Jackson who mentioned how, you know, they are the, you know, the Elite in AEW. Like this is like they are the DNA of AEW, and that played a big role. Another thing was that Nick Jackson mentioned was the schedule. Not being able to do that, you know, maybe not wanting to go out there and go to WWE and do their schedule that they do because it's, you know, it's a brutal schedule. And then Hangman Page mentioned how he likes how AEW has basically helped the industry. It's helped a lot of wrestlers make a living, and he wants to continue to be part of that. Kenny Omega spoke about how he has more freedom with AEW and he's able to pursue other life interests. So I feel like almost every guy kind of covered a specific portion of you know, reasons why they wanted to stick with AEW. And this is the thing that I found interesting too, is that when Kenny had said that they were all going to stick together at Blood and Guts, that's a hard thing because Reg, think about this. When you're planning your career, it's a one-person decision, right?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
you're going to decide what you do. And so it is interesting to see that all of these people, Matt, Nick, Kenny, Hangman, that they all basically agreed to stay together and stay in AEW. Like that's pretty interesting to me.
What's super interesting, Denise, also timing. What little documentary came out this week talking about some stuff like this? You know what I mean? Like super interesting timing after this Cody documentary. There was all the AEW talk. Why did he leave? What is this? And then for like the rest of the guys to kind of stick together and stay in AEW. It's just interesting timing, right?
So when I watched the documentary and I heard what Triple H said, I was like, oh, this is going to be all over Twitter.
Why did he do this to us, Denise?
All over Twitter. Because it was a very brief portion of the documentary where it was talked about AEW. But there was that one little minor itty bitty shot directed at them. And so then, you know, Tony Khan obviously had his things to say.
Right.
And obviously defending his company as he should, right? Everyone should. So I feel like this was interesting. And, I know there's people that are siding with Triple H. There's people that are siding with Tony Khan. I get it. That's how it is. I actually see them. I think they're both right in this topic.
Yeah.
Because there's right in what Triple H said and there's right in what Tony Khan said.
And I think it's all fair in love and war, man. Everybody should be like, yeah, they are secondary promotion. It is this. Is this kind of energy? Because it's not all rainbows and butterflies. They're not slapping hands. There's not friends here, man. This is two competing businesses fighting for wrestling supremacy. So, like, yo, talk it, Triple H. Say that y'all are the big dog. And then Tony Khan come back and be like, well, we about to do the biggest show of all time, Triple H. That
was the thing that I forgot to mention earlier was the tagline for AEW All In was the biggest biggest show in wrestling history, something like that. I have it in here somewhere. But what did you think when you saw that? Like, do you think that was them kind of going?
Yeah, because if you tell the big dogs that you're throwing the biggest wrestling show of all time, not a WWE show, do you know how insane that even sounds? Like, it does. Like, I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, how? Because I remember being at WrestleMania 32, the big one in Texas. That's supposed to be like the big one. And I was like, this is insane. Like, why are there this many people here? And to think that another company that's not WWE is going to do that is like, as a wrestling fan that's been a wrestling fan for a long time, like even WCW, like they were doing some big numbers, but not like this.
It's insane. And the actual slogan is the biggest event in wrestling history.
Oh, that's even harder. WWE likes words like to say event. Oh, you're talking event. You're talking crazy, yo. They're not going to respond lightly to this, Denise. Not at all. They're not.
I'm reading in between the lines. Those are some fighting words right there.
The biggest event? What did you say to me?
And here's the thing. Oh my God. Do you remember when WWE was promoting the greatest wrestling match ever? Something like that.
Yeah.
You remember
Edge
the greatest
and Randy Orton.
Thank you. Edge and Randy Orton. I remember it might have been Sean. I think he was the one that said that part of the reason why they did this so that when you Google the greatest pro wrestling match ever, that it pops up. So now if someone, in 20 years from now goes, little kid that maybe watch wrestling on TikTok, all of a sudden Google's the biggest event in wrestling history. Bam. What's going to pop up?
Those guys are some characters, man. I never thought of that. I remember them saying that about this match and being like, shut up. That's not true. But thinking about it, if you Google the greatest match ever, Randy Orton and fucking Edge is going to come up. Delete Google. Just shut the whole thing down. Pull the cord off the wall and slam it on the ground like Roderick Strong slammed that chair, because this is a travesty.
Oh man, this is wild. This is wild. All right. We got so many more super chats in here to get into. We got Andrew Scornia who says, from no fans watching live to the biggest live event ever, Shida deserves it. Crazy. WWE shit the bed with Drew McIntyre and AEW showing how it's done. Let's effing go. Delayed Grat says, police raid Vince in search of LA Knight's push and whoever told him to grow that mustache. But the Elite staying in AEW are the biggest news today.
Bro was trying to hide. I can't be mad at him. Like, I'm gonna get a mustache. I'm gonna get the surgery. They can't come in this hospital room, can they? You can't. Don't let them in here. My back hurts. I'm an old man. Don't take me away. You can't raid my things. I'm an old man. I'm in this wheelchair now. I just had spinal surgery. Like, bro, get in the car, Vince McMahon. You're going to jail.
Reg, you're killing me on this podcast. Oh my God. Leonard Aarons III says, after watching the Cody-mentary, it hit me that WWE is home to Cody the same way AEW is to the Elite. Cody used AEW to get back home. The Elite are looking to continue building and helping it grow. I love the documentary. I think they did a great job. There was some stuff where you're like, they're bending the truth a little bit, but it's WWE. They've been doing that since
walking
forever.
The line on this. I see. It's all good. But I mean, it's a wrestling documentary, Denise. I wouldn't expect any less.
Yeah, but it was good stuff. I like the story that they told. And at the end, of course, we wish it would have had a happy ending for Cody, but it is what it is for the Cody-mentary, like Leonard says. Yes. Steven says, did the Cody documentary change your opinion of the WrestleMania finish? No, it kept my same opinion where I'm like, shit, they dropped the ball. They freaking fumbled. Bro, imagine how much nicer that would have been.
Yeah, I'm saying, did it hammer it home that it like the opposite way of like, man, they really should have did it. Now they have this great documentary. This moment would have been broadcasted and he could have talked about it. But man, thinking about it, saying documentary out loud, it's like, okay, now they did it to probably to aid this documentary, like to give him that adversary so he could talk about like, oh man, I really could have had it. So I don't
But
know.
the
They should have gave him
documentary
the
is
damn
out already.
championship at WrestleMania. Never. I haven't seen the documentary, but that finish was crazy, you guys.
Yes, and like you don't need to see the documentary obviously to know the finish of that. You really don't. But I think about this, talking about the future, because I remember when I started watching wrestling and how I started learning the history of wrestling was I would watch the videos, right? That WWE would put out.
Yeah.
Right. So I would watch those videos, okay? And then, I would go back and watch other things and kind of connect the dots, right? Think about this. Think about the future kid from now. That one day is going to be like, I'm starting to watch wrestling right now. He just starts, right? And then he goes like, oh, I want to learn about Cody Rhodes. I'm going to watch his Peacock documentary. Then goes and watches this documentary and it's like all getting the feels. And then in the end, he's like, oh my God, Cody didn't win at WrestleMania 39?
Loser.
This kid's going to go watch WrestleMania 39 and be like, this shit sucks. What did they do that for him for? And that's like, I think about, like, I've just thought about that right now. Like, I know some people probably think I'm crazy, but people have different ways that they discover
that is a way.
And they start watching,
It's like when people used to watch Total Divas and then they would connect it kind of like that. You're exactly what you're talking about, Denise. Somebody's going to go on Peacock, see the advertisement, Cody Rhodes, blah, blah, blah. You watch it, you're like, oh man, he must have really finished the story at WrestleMania. Let me pull up WrestleMania. Then you pull it up and you're like, wait, what happened? Why did they lead me to this?
Exactly. So it does suck, and it sucks because it would have been a great story to the documentary, but it is what it is. Now, what can you do? Hector Rodriguez says if Baby Bash, whatever that is, didn't break Denise, Reg will do something that will in this episode. And I think Hector was right on this one.
Yeah,
Hangover Bob says, I have a similar situation where I work. I have been offered money to go to another company while realizing if myself and my friends go to that company, then competition dies. You need competition. I like that, Hangover Bob. I appreciate you giving us like a real life example of how this can happen. Like, well, it is real life with the Elite.
We know what you mean, though.
The same storyline, but you know, like people, us that are not on television every week, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Bob, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate that a whole lot. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into the Mogul Embassy. Nick Wayne, AR Fox and Swerve attack Nick Wayne at the Buddy Wayne Academy and leave this kid, this child, a bloody pulp. Oh my God. What'd you think of this?
Loved it. Loved every moment of it. My favorite part of it is, AR Fox and Swerve invade Buddy Wayne's Academy. We've seen many videos of this. They set this up. So they pull up on here. They get in there and Nick Wayne's like, what the hell are you guys doing here? And then Swerve and AR Fox start talking a lot of crap to him. They get in there and start beating him up. They tell him to call Darby Allin. They're like, call Darby Allin. He's all bloody. His face is all bloody. Nick Wayne's like, you barely see out of his eyes. Unlocks his phone, calls Darby Allin. Darby Allin's like, hello? And AR Fox is like, nah, this ain't Nick Wayne. No, Darby Allin's like, what's up, Nick? And AR Fox is like, no, this ain't Nick Wayne. This is AR Fox. What's going on? What's up? We'll pull up on your boy. Darby Allin goes, what? I was like, dude, what do you mean what? Like, you hear the super villain on the other side of the phone? You need to get angry about this craziness. They punk out Darby Allin. He's nowhere to be found. He's yelling on the phone, don't hurt him. You better help him. Don't do that to my friend. Acting like Roderick Strong on the other side of this phone. This is crazy. They leave Nick Wayne bloody, Denise. It's a horror scene after this, at the end of this. Nick Wayne is destroyed, just turned 18, realized his dream, trying to fix himself in his own ring, tribute to his dad. And here come these two crazy men to beat him up in his own home, leave him bloody. Great scene. I love the pairing of AR Fox and Swerve, them looking like two just super villains terrorizing this kid. Darby's nowhere to be found. I loved it.
It was good stuff, man. The visual, the overall like production part of it, I loved it. I think like whoever's like everybody that's working on putting these videos and these packages together in AEW is literally doing a tremendous job with these because they're always so different and they're fun and they work and they don't come off as like cheesy or corny. Like they come off as like legit. And that's what I personally like. Like when I was seeing Nick Wayne, they're bleeding. I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm feeling bad, like you got me. And so it was something that definitely I enjoyed seeing.
And it didn't feel out of place in the show, right? Like it felt like a good part of the show.
Exactly. Let's rewind to the top of the show. We did get Chris Jericho and Konosuke Takeshita versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Don Callis cheats and uses the bat to hit Daniel Garcia when the referee isn't looking. Jericho's all trying to act like he's never done anything bad in his life. And it's like, what the F? He's all shocked, like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there going, bro, you've done some shady stuff on TV. What are you talking about? All of a sudden, you're the good guy. Anyway, so he then rushes in and pins Daniel Garcia. So he takes advantage of the situation. And then he acts like guilty about it. And it's basically said that he made his choice. He's being with Don Callis and the family. And then later on, it is Matt Menard confronts Chris Jericho and says, we're going to have a mandatory Jericho Appreciation Society meeting next week. And I'm like, why? He just beat two of your guys and was okay with doing it unfairly.
Yeah, come on. The writing's on the wall, Matt. Like, what do you want him to say? Like, you want him to hit you with a bat too? Like, he watched it. He fakes, like, Denise. That is funny. Like, we've seen Jericho be the most dastardly. He's did all kinds of he's punched a person's wife in the eye, dude. He punched Shawn Michaels' wife in the eye. We saw him do that. And now he's over here like, oh, Don, don't do this. Liar.
Exactly. But anyway, so this feels like, Andy doesn't want to play with them anymore. That's the vibes that we're getting here.
It is. Damn. He's just throwing them in the trash. They're like, please don't do this to us, Jericho. And he's like, I have to.
Exactly. Like he's been confronted multiple times on AEW television. Hasn't given them any hope that he cares about the Appreciation Society. No. So move on. Get over it. All right.
On, like we are too.
I do wish that they would have milked the Sammy Jericho breakup a lot more because they did have, this bond, this friendship. And I think they could have done a lot more creatively with that. Personally.
Yeah, it kind of leaves, it feels kind of flat for Sammy's side of it. I like the Jericho and Don part, but like, for what they were building to and kind of what this is building from, like Sammy needed a little bit more meat, I feel like, but I think it all work out.
And
if they push Sammy after this, I don't know.
That's true. That's definitely true. Okay, so this next match, I can't believe we're over an hour and we haven't even got into this match. It is the Anything Goes match between Jon Moxley versus Penta El Cero Miedo versus Trent Beretta. Now, my friends, if you did not watch this match, please go out of your way to see it. It was very enjoyable. It was a very nice, fast-paced, violent match. And we had some really great moments. I'm just going to highlight some of the big ones that included Trent literally doing the 6 suplex onto Jon Moxley where he had 2 tables set up on the outside. And from the camera angle, Reg, it kind of looked like the tables were set too far. And I'm nervous going, oh my God, they're not going to land on those tables. But they landed on those tables very nicely. And it was a big moment. We see an avalanche destroyer through the table from Penta to Trent. And immediately after this, Moxley spears Penta into this table. We get Mox bringing out the thumbtacks. And he is literally putting these guys through the thumbtacks. Can't even say thumbtacks anymore. He gets Penta with a God-style pile driver. And then he slams them onto the mat. So Penta's got the full on thumbtacks on the back. And eventually we see like just some more back and forth action. I did like seeing Penta and Jon Moxley exchange rights and lefts at one point. That was really good. But in the end, we do see the paradigm shift from Jon Moxley to Penta, and Trent uses this opportunity to take out Moxley. And when he takes out Moxley, he goes on to Penta and gets the 1-2-3. So essentially stealing the victory from Jon Moxley, but not in a way to me that screamed heel, in a way that was like, you know what, bro, you fucked up and he took advantage of this. Good for him. And Trent Beretta wins this match, and afterwards we get this whole altercation between the BCC and the best friends, and this is leading to the parking lot brawl numero dos, because we got one literally back in 2020 that was rated 5 stars between Chuck Taylor and Trent against Ortiz and Santana, and we're going to be getting this match on Rampage in Jacksonville.
A whole lot of stuff happened here, but the main part of this, I thought, was Trent Beretta was the MVP of this match. Jon Moxley wasn't the one bleeding. Trent was the one bleeding, but Trent was working so hard in this match. He always works hard. Trent Beretta is, I hate this stupid word, but a really underrated wrestler. Like, I think like they've given him a lot of opportunities, but they really had like there's still so much that he has to give. And this right here showed it. This is workhorse. He was working hard. He was in every spot he needed to be in, not taking away from Penta and Moxley because they were amazing, but Trent really showed that he deserved to be in there with many consider to be the big stars of AEW. So I thought he was great. That avalanche Canadian destroyer through the table was insane. And yeah, just like you said, Denise, I thought that the way that he won the match, he outsmarted Jon Moxley more than like, haha, I'm a heel, I got one over on. He's like, you brought all this crazy shit in the ring, but I'm the one that got the win in the end. And then them setting up the parking lot brawl, Moxley and Yuta coming through the crowd, but then cut off by Orange Cassidy and Chuck was dope. Them all brawling, leading to a 6-man trios match, maybe potentially between the best friends and BCC, which is also going to be great. So I like all of this.
I do too, man. You nailed it with everything that you said there. I agree. And especially with the stuff about Trent Beretta, man, I can go back to like my early shows where I was, covering AEW Dynamite, and Trent Beretta was always the guy where I'm like, dude, anytime he's in a match, I want to see more of him. Keep doing more with him. Yeah. And I do agree. I think he's one of the most underrated guys that they have in AEW. And every time I always think that he's on the precipice for something big, and then he kind of gets casted aside, and I'm like, what are y'all not seeing in Trent Beretta? Like there's something here like with Trent that I think if he had like the full support of the company, like really pushing him, I truly think that you can get so much more out of Trent Beretta. I mean, in terms of like bigger status matches, singles run, that type of situation. Yeah,
totally. And then best friends need, before their run here is over in AEW, to be the tag team champions. They've been here since the beginning, kind of defending being a tag team that's always kind of in the mix. And I think they've shown recently with BCC that they could turn it up to different levels. Chuck Taylor, we can't leave him out. He's also an amazing wrestler, and I think he has a lot more to show too. So I hope that they keep pushing these guys and being in there with BCC, and hopefully Brian comes back and he's involved with them and they get it too. So this is it.
We got a super chat here from Grapple Geekery who says, start calling him Jurimo with this acting. Jurimo. Grapple Geekery, thank you so much for the super chat and making us laugh. We got one last thing to talk about, and that is Aussie Open versus El Hijo de Vikingo and Komander for the Ring of Honor tag team titles. A really nice action-packed match, literally what you would expect from these two guys, with Aussie Open retaining. Anything additional that you want to add or say about this match?
Spot foo, great way. I love that Komander and Vikingo had matching gear. They did some great flips. They did the double 450 spot that Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi did. So they have to fight each other next week on Dynamite. Book it, somebody. I don't know. Put it down. But if they did the spot, that means that they got to fight. Now, I want to see more of this tag team together. Them having matching gear just makes me excited that they're going to do more tag matches. But Vikingo and Komander versus the Young Bucks, Denise?
Please. Serve it on a platter. Serve it on a platter here for us. Serve it on a platter.
Man.
So this was a big episode because it was 200 episodes of AEW Dynamite. But I do want to take a second and thank each and every single person who tuned into the podcast and also supported this podcast, because this has been, Reg, our most super chatted show that we have done. We got 67 super chats today.
Y'all are cool.
That is huge.
That's a lot for just an hour. As somebody who does 3-hour podcasts, like that's a lot. And you guys are amazing. Thanks for coming along for this ride. I had a great time, and like it's even better that I'm just having fun and they're supporting like this. It's like, yo, you guys, that's cool.
Seriously, we cannot thank you guys enough. And even if you just came in here and hung out, like, we thank you guys so much for being viewers. And before we go, I do want to let you guys know that we are available to listen on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Please, if you are maybe not interested in video podcasts, you just want to listen to the audio version, those are available on Apple and Spotify. The links are in the description box below. If you watch the show and you enjoyed the show, please go leave a review. I read them every Tuesday. Every single time you guys send in those reviews, I read them here on the show because they really help out a whole lot. And the higher the show gets ranked on Apple Podcasts, the more that new viewers will come and find us. So I'm trying to get us that spot, keep climbing higher and higher. So if you guys can, please make sure to leave a review. Before we go, Reg, please let the people know where they can watch your additional work.
As always, you could catch me every Saturday on the Grapsity podcast of Philip Lindsay. We got some new interviews coming out very soon. You can catch me every Wednesday here with Denise, and every Wednesday I'm also with Mike on Indeed. And Thursdays, some Thursdays is Ask Grapsity, and every Thursday is the ROH Post Show with Kate. And they just announced the match of All In. We're getting into All In season, kicking it off really hot. Immediately after All In is going to be the All In post show on the Fightful Network, and it's going to be your boys from Grapsity, Philip Lindsay and Righteous Reg, are going to talk about all the great happenings. Denise is going to be there live. It's going to be such a great time. We're all excited about this.
It is going to be a good time for sure. And also, I want to take a second to wish a happy birthday to Patrick Scroggins. It's his birthday, and he chose to spend it with us here today. And he's also a YouTube member. So, Patrick, really a happy birthday. As for me, you guys know, click that subscribe button. You guys can find me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. And also, I will be back on Friday for the SmackDown post show. And then Saturday, I will be here for a SummerSlam watch along. Who knows what the hell is going to go down on that? Make sure you guys come join, come hang out. It'll be a really good time. Thank you to everybody who took part in this episode. And we will catch you back here next week for more AEW Dynamite conversation.
Peace.